teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. So lovely to see you today. Today you might have a tiny bit more background noise. One of my neighbours across the street is in his garden playing some music, and I do have the window open in the other room just to let some breeze through because it's actually been beautiful here today. And it's nice to get a little bit of fresh air in the place because usually you have to seal it off and just air condition it all. So might be a little bit louder, hopefully not, but if you do hear it, apologies. Let's move on to Chantal. Chantal did do a live stream, which she then deleted. It was gonna try this, where basically she's very angry that people stream snipe, and yeah, so she's not gonna do the live stream thing anymore, or maybe she is, or maybe she just has to rethink her contract. La la la. It's not a new conversation with her. Anytime she gets annoyed about these things, she rages on her community tab. And then every now and again she goes, fine, no more of this. And I'll say exactly what I've said every time she's tried this before. Not doing it will hurt her more than it's going to hurt us. Yeah, because contrary to her belief, a lot of us do not do this for our livelihood. It's just a side hobby. Yeah, I earn some money from it. I enjoy that. I can put it towards my saving. I can put it towards my pension. But do I rely on this for my living? No, I do not. So you want to hurt yourself with that? Well, that's your choice. But I guarantee you, even if she didn't breathe the attention like she breathed there, I guarantee you she would be back. So today we're going to be looking at Just Saying's cut down of this video. Salah mentions about their marriage because neither of them can just keep quiet when it's best for them, really. They both have this belief that if they just double down enough, if they're just confident enough, if they just get aggressive enough, people will be too intimidated to call it out. And darling, clearly you don't know me well. But let's get started. I set this up, I got it started just so I could cut out the bit where he's feeding her because it was awkward and a bit cringe. But it freeze framed on this. Them explaining their marriage, the perfect expressions.
For the two of us, we found some pretty good deals.
Yeah, we have a good deal.
So,
Which will be, I think...
oh my god, that'll be so romantic. And we have a private pool so I could totally swim if I want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is, they're discussing a trip to the Maldives that they're apparently going on. I will believe it when I see it, but she has travelled to places I didn't expect her to before, so maybe she will. I'd imagine Salah would be quite excited about that, because I did a quick look, so I was like, if he's got a Syrian passport, then how would he travel to the Maldives? But apparently visas on arrival are starting in 2023, so maybe that's why they've chosen it, because it's a new country he'll now be able to go to. I'm guessing she would have to pay for that. I don't know how good business is with Murad. I know they split it. By the way, he said 50-50 once, and that's not legally possible, but I can understand him saying 50-50 rather than 51-49. But I don't know how much money he's getting from it because he was also working a job before, so clearly it wasn't enough to live on. I'm not sure what his role is there. But he doesn't appear to be working now, so Foodie is clearly having to bankroll something, especially if we take into account Allah's version of events, which is the things he got cheap from him because he was helping out his friends. So when it comes to who's going to pay for the Maldives, I think it's going to be her. However, she's got a bankruptcy hearing, and she's got one when she gets back to Canada. I think she said the 30th was the day for that. And like I mentioned briefly in it was either my last or my one before, usually with second bankruptcies, apparently they usually automatically discharge. So the only reason to go into court for that is if you've been called into court for that. So either you haven't been working with the person who was assigned to you to help get these creditors paid during the length of your bankruptcy, or the CRA would like to have a chat. And I could imagine both are true with Foodie, because if she has barely worked with her accountant, she's mentioned them, she's been like, oh yeah, I should get my taxes sorted, but she never actually got it done. I can't imagine she was really in deep or meaningful talks with the person assigned to her by the court. So that's going to be a really... Wow, really loud birds. Sorry. That's going to be a really interesting conversation she's going to have. I'm guessing they're calling her in and being like, hey, why are you doing this? Because she doesn't have wages in Canada that they can garnish for this stuff. Yeah. But she does have a large amount of income. And how is she going to explain to the court that, yes, I earned 6 figures and I didn't pay off my debts? Like, that's going to be a hard conversation. She's got a lot of stuff online, but I'm sure the court, and if not the court, certainly the CRA could order a look into her finances so they can see how much money she's wasting. And we know how. We know how much money she spent. We know how much she gave Nada. We know how much she spent on weed. We know that she went to Kuwait for 3 months. But when they look closer at that and they see all this wasteful spending, I imagine they're going to have some questions. So I wouldn't count on booking this trip too soon, because I think she's going to get bitch slapped by that bankruptcy court so hard that the next door neighbours are going to hear it. Which will at least be interesting content after the week or so she has lying to us when we finally piece the truth together. But planning big trips is always fun, and that's what they're doing at the moment, so we shall see.
So Sal is severe. You're not addicted to Mountain Dew? Do you really love Mountain Dew, or? Well,
Sometimes with the food only, not like every 1 hour.
yeah, like some.
Little side thing, not that important, but I don't get how people drink fizzy drinks with food. Having the extra flavour along with food never works for me. I gave up fizzy drinks when I was about 11 just because I didn't like the flavour, and I just switched to water, and now I drink an enormous amount of coffee. But aside from that, I'm not a big fizzy drink consumer. That I don't know if you can hear that meow, but Maggie has come back to visit because her owner is out of town, so the cleaners are feeding her. They're taking turns feeding her every day, but she likes to go for walks. I've been distracted by the cat. What was I saying? Fizzy drinks. Don't understand them with food. Moving on.
People drink like liters of it a day.
Oh, the soda, like if you drink too much soda, it's
Not good for you?
it's harmful. Yeah.
I love that they're talking about this while she's drinking
But we drink it.
Coke or Pepsi.
Stop tomorrow.
Yeah, not every time. Like maybe
Did she just say, I will stop tomorrow? Time it.
once a day.
Yeah, like with our main meal or whatever. Like, this is our main meal. Oh.
Check.
Yeah, I did eat a little more than usual today.
She posted a picture of a full Burger King meal she'd had.
Whatever. I can't wait, guys. And imagine like how cool the vlogs will be, you know?
Oh, so I have something to say about the fake marriage.
Oh, good. I'm interested. Let's listen.
Yes, it's the abaya was before 2 or 3 weeks maybe.
I'm just confirming what he said because it took me a couple of listens to understand it. So he's confirmed that the abaya she wore was bought 2 or 3 weeks before.
Okay. Because she's a tourist visa, okay?
Okay. No, please explain this to me because I bet it's going to be interesting. And bear in mind, as they're explaining, this is a completely different story than the one she presented. It technically would have been second because she had the first, she had the second. So just so we're all aware of this little roller coaster, she came in, she claimed to be married about a day and a half after she got there because she showed a picture with her nail polish, with her in the ring, just their ring fingers together. And that was them married about a day and a half after she got in, right? She then gave us the story. Once she realised you can't do that because you need the civil ID, she gave us the story that there had been some kind of loophole with being employed, being signed on to be employed with Murad's company, which she can't do as a tourist. And through that loophole, they had managed to get a civil ID. And so that's how they managed to get married. Don't worry about the timeline. They did that in a day and a half, friends. So then she got called out on that because that's nonsense. And now that she said, in an attempt to protect herself from the accusations of earning money in Kuwait when she shouldn't be and blah, 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 she was like, no, I'm a tourist, but I'm self-employed with YouTube because she thought that doing YouTube might get her in trouble because people will ask him the question. It wouldn't have got her in trouble, but what she said to cover it will. So there we go. Good choices all around. And now, no, she's on a tourist visa. So then doesn't explain the marriage, which apparently we're about to get a story about. So great. I'm glad. I just want to clarify it for you so he can clarify it for us.
She have only 3 months and she don't have a civil ID to get married, okay?
Okay, so the entire employment arc was a lie.
We get married once she came here, okay?
Okay, how? Because the whole temporary marriage that you can do is a get out of jail free card in the eyes of God and society. Yeah, it's not a legally standing thing. It's a temporary thing. You don't get paperwork. So you couldn't have gotten married when she first arrived. But let's keep going.
Fully married, but
Fully married. How? No explanation, no evidence, just checking in.
to get the paper as a tourist visa, it's need time. Go.
It doesn't need time. It needs a fully imaginary set of papers that you claim to have, which either you don't have or you've obtained legally. Because there is no timeline on which a tourist visa can become a marriage, because you can't get married on a tourist visa. There is no timeline in which a tourist visa can become any visa that would get you a civil ID that would get you married. And even if there were, that would take more time than the day and a half you claim to have took. You could, if you'd entered on a different visa, have had a religious ceremony so that you could count of as married, and then you could maybe take that to the court, and maybe that took slightly longer to get like the appointment and stuff. But that's not what you're claiming. You're claiming that you came in, you got married immediately, and Chantal has already confirmed they had no other ceremony but the civil one.
Going to the court many times until you get the marriage contract.
They don't have a marriage contract. I'm sorry, I will die on this hill. They don't have a marriage contract. And it wouldn't have taken multiple times to the court. It would have taken one visit with the right people and the right paperwork. If they've gone to that court so many times, it's because the court keeps telling them, you're on a tourist visa, of course you're not married, don't be ridiculous. Which I doubt they've done, because then the fact that they're not married and living together would be obvious to the court. And you probably don't want to stir that particular hornet's nest. So let's pull the other one, shall we?
So I hope this it's coming inside the brain of some people. I'm talking about some people.
Hit me.
Like zombies, they follow the reaction channels and they believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they believe me. And you can say my name, by the way. I'm not Voldemort. I can be named. You can say my channel. You probably don't want to draw any more attention to me than it already has been, but my last video did reasonably well because I do have knowledge of what she's talking about. So I don't think for a second Chantal watches me. She has been on my channel before in the comments 2 or 3 times, but I think it's much more likely that people have sent her clips and then she's raged. I don't think she's a regular watcher of my channel at all. But my video from last time, explaining kind of why they're liars and proving why they were liars, did quite well. And a few people she does watch mentioned it. So Charlie Gold mentioned it briefly, and just generally people have been sharing it. So thank you very much. If you enjoyed the last video, I appreciate your views. But sitting here and telling me, I hope this has gotten into your brain. Honey, it was in my brain before. The problem you have is that my brain works, and my brain has enough experience to apply to this situation. So let me give you a moment. Go and watch my old video and just take a breath and let it settle into your brain. Just because you sit here stonewalling it, saying, no, it's not true, without evidence, I'm not going to believe you, because any path in any version of events, and you have told multiple versions of events, none of them lead where you claim they lead. And unlike you, I brought proof to my videos. I showed the document that I needed to get into the country. I showed that it was a work permit. I showed how the process in Kuwait works. What you need is receipts. But you're not showing them because that's private. They're private because you don't have them.
This need time. if you don't know something, don't say something from yourself.
You're very lucky because one, I have quite an analytical mind and I'm more than capable of research. And two, I have 15 years experience working internationally. So by all means, argue this with me.
Just learn or read.
Yeah.
Learn or
Listen very
read.
well from
Okay.
the people.
Are you sure you want me to do that? Because I'm guessing you didn't like my last video. If you're mentioning it, or of course not mentioning it, because why would you say the name? Give yourself a break and let it go. Because you're not going to win this conversation. Both of them are acting right now like, you know those yappy little dogs behind a glass door? That meme that goes around where they're barking, 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 and then someone opens the glass door and they're like, oh shit. And they sit with their tails between their legs. That's what they're doing right here. Like, no, let's argue, let's argue, let's argue. Oh, you've got proof? No, you're wrong. The gaslighting of it. Don't believe what you have seen with your own eyes. Don't believe the sources of information that have so far proven credible coming from an experienced traveller. Believe what we say, no matter how many times we've contradicted it. And if you don't, then you are zombies following hate-filled videos. I didn't show any hate. I just showed truth, and they hate it. That's the difference.
Who know? Don't follow that anything the haters say because
They're all lying. Look at your mama. Where's
full
this
of
proof
lies.
still?
Oh, and now deflect. Look, these other people may have been wrong during my entire history of my channel where I constantly gaslight and change the truth and lie to my audience. People may have made mistakes before and therefore I'm proven right here. That's not the same thing. But she'll come for FFG and she'll come for Charlie and she'll come for Just Breezing and she'll come for Yo Mama. But even though she knows my channel exists and apparently Salah at the very least has watched what I've said about visas, even if it's secondhand, she hasn't come for me. Because if she did, what the hell would she say? How would she counteract what I have said? Because she won't show the marriage license because she doesn't have it. She can't show the civil ID because she doesn't have it. So what is she going to do to disprove me? And until she does it, I don't want to fucking hear it because she's lying.
Where's your mama's proof still that we're in cahoots, that it's all fake? All he says is it's fake, and people run with that like nothing. Meanwhile,
I will say, in terms of it's fake and she does shit for views, aside from the fact that she obviously does, there was on Twitter, I can't remember if I downloaded this, so if I'm not showing it you right now, I apologize. There was a close-up of a message that she sent to Nada saying she was going to tell people something to kind of whip them up. I read something in that regards on Twitter, but I forgot this was in here, so I didn't collect it. I can go searching if you need it.
I showed the receipts to Rugar's side, like
literally what I asked him for about to change the thumbnail.
yeah.
I don't know what's.
And that's not even proof of it. Like
I don't know what's it.
Speaking of not being proof of anything, this conversation about Yo Mama is not proof of your status in Kuwait. If you would like to discuss the conversation we're actually having instead of desperately deflecting onto other things, let me know.
Like what drama you are going to make it on anyway.
yeah.
No problem.
And it's not about him being my butt kisser or like a sim for me. It's about doing what's right and being honest. Like
Every time she says it's about being honest, I choke on my coffee a little bit.
and look, like I told you that Turdhead did meth and he sat there so long and said, that never happened.
Did anyone not believe that he does meth? Put it down below if you were a believer. Because I did react. Good golly, Miss Molly, because I thought the title was quite clever. Sometimes I giggle at myself, you guys. I don't think people are out here going, no, I don't believe it. I think we all agreed that he was horrible and that he did stupid things and that she shouldn't do them and she should get away from him. I remember that being a big old conversation. And again, it doesn't paint you in the best light and it doesn't actually answer the questions here, which is your marriage. Has that got anything to do with the drugs you've done in the past or the drugs he's done in the past? No. And I wouldn't hold up Nada as an example of your honesty anywhere because you lied for him dozens of times, even when it made you look like a complete idiot. You did it anyway. And if she ends up coming for me and being like, oh yeah, I lied for my abuser, yes, you did. And I don't care about your reasons. I don't care if you were in love, because this isn't the conversation I'm having. The conversation I'm having is, how is your marriage valid? And I will not be distracted from this.
Never had a pipe, blah blah blah. People saw it on live stream. Like, I don't know how many times I have to prove to be right, but it's just ridiculous. So
at least one more time is how many times. I want to see proof that your marriage is legal and it's on a timeline that makes sense with your videos. And I don't think for a second I'm going to get that, because I think it doesn't exist.
To prove him, because
yeah,
just drop it. No
Just drop it. Fuck you.
need to think about it. Be positive, always.
Oh, apologies, sir. You're talking to your wife. Makes a lot more sense. Although that sounded a bit scared, didn't it? I want to know what's going on with Allah and the court case, because she took a little break there while she was putting up her couple's channel and her grocery haul. And by the way, if anyone's wondering, no, fresh produce does exist in the Middle East, I promise. They import a lot of it, but it exists, I promise.
Last week I saw a trash bin. It's called on it Yaba.
really?
Yeah.
I can't remember if Just Saying, I watched this once through before really quick. I can't remember if Just Saying put it in, but she was complaining a lot in this live, and the live was eventually deleted because she was saying, if people stream type, I won't go live. I know I mentioned kind of at the beginning of this video that she was going on about it, but just a reminder, I think we will see her live very, very soon. I don't think she gets the views on her vlogs at all. They're easier to consume from a reaction point of view when it's pre-recorded, but her vlogs on the couple channel are not doing very well compared to her other stuff. And the fact is, yes, she used to do well on her vlogs before, but her channel has changed and her audience has changed with it. And I don't think she can turn back the clock in that regard.
No way.
That's it.
That's funny. There you go.
In the supermarket. Okay, yalla.
Yeah, yalla.
Let's do it.
Yalla.
Let's do it.
Bear in mind, she says, I flinch when he touched my face, and she's coming from a place of victimized abuse. And I'm not questioning that would have happened with Nada, but I'm questioning the idea that you might put on boxing gloves and start doing this with your wife when she claims to be so scared and so traumatically scarred by this.
Put up your dukes.
I don't want to curse you with it. This one is so like not heavy, not strong.
You used to punch people in the face with this?
Mm-hmm.
That's hot.
Okay.
That's hot, says the domestic abuse victim.
So cute.
Yeah, they're just cute and quirky, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. I never rage online. I've always been honest with you. I'm just victimized all around.
Chantal, you are eating at 3:40. Yes. No. Sorry, 3:42. Exactly. A.M. Yeah.
Is there like a specific time I have to eat? People are very...
Maybe she need your permission to eat or no. I don't know.
God, they really are, in attitude and reasoning, just the perfect couple for each other, aren't they? Really. Mazel tov.
Them playing reruns is hilarious. I live for that. Don't really realize that they're literally living in the past. Yeah, and like...
What's left of her past videos, because she's deleted a ton of them. Yeah, because on one hand, your glory days were more exciting than this in some ways. For me, because I've been following the whole kind of immigration arc, I've actually found this very interesting. But it's interesting to see her cycles. It's interesting to see how completely she's tried to erase her past self and has embraced this new generation of person that she's decided to be. And it's interesting how her past contradicts it and she likes to ignore it. So yes, people go back. They go, oh, it was a simpler time. You know what I would have loved? I'm very simple if she just kept mukbanging, kept doing a thing, went back to time warps. I love, even now, I would sit there and I would watch time warps. They were just a fun time. Dress up in a costume, tell you a little bit of history on a good day, and just do your thing. I was okay with that. I would have been fine with that content, but no, here we are.
Playing streams from like almost 2 years ago? Like, who gives a crap? Like,
everyone gives a crap. Whether we should, whether we shouldn't, everyone gives a crap because look where we are. Look at your version of events now versus your version of events then versus the amalgamation of facts that we have crafted the truth from. Yeah? You're fun because you don't learn. Because you lie and then you forget you lie and you contradict yourself. And it's quite easy to pick out. It makes it amusing.
She's practicing for Ramadan. Yeah, in Ramadan we have to eat very well at this time before Fajr Adhan.
You do actually. You have iftar in the evening after the evening prayer to break your fast, and then people just stay awake. It's one of the reasons we tend to have reduced schedules at school because all the kids are knackered, man.
Who cares? Okay, titties. So it's okay if she's slightly smaller than me. Number one, she doesn't even show herself on camera.
And now let's get into rage about reactors because guess what we're not addressing? Marriage status. I'm being so sarcastic today. This is it. Get angry about everything and everyone so that it can smokescreen the thing people are actually talking about that she can't defend.
So how would you know? Two, it's okay for her to fat shame as a parent who's, I really hope your kid doesn't become obese someday, because if that's the case and you bully people, bad people online for a living, I don't know what to say. No words.
No words. I mean, we could look at some of your past actions. We could look at you trying to dox families. We could look at you calling CPS on people or threatening to at the very least. You want to talk about who's gone lower? I think you might not win that game. Okay, I'm leaving it there. There was a little bit of back and forth with her and him, but it wasn't interesting. Don't worry, I'll save you the minutes of your life. Until I see paperwork and until we can confirm it's legal, which we can't because it can't be, I'm not going to believe anything. But note that she's not bringing that paperwork. I agree that certain sensitive information shouldn't be online, which is why in my last video where I showed you my entry permit, I redacted my name and the name of my sponsor and my passport number so that it couldn't have revealing personal information in it because I don't believe that should be shared with the internet. She could do the same. She could show the date, she could show confirmation of their names and the other important stuff, and she could redact the things that don't need to be seen, like any ID stuff. She could show her civil ID, which they would still need for marriage. So this thing of she's a tourist visa, we have to go many, many times, you still need a civil ID for marriage. So what they're saying is they went back and forth to the court many times to try and get a civil ID for this. Because the court isn't going to overturn the whole visa process and go, oh, you're special. You can get married as a tourist. No. And they don't have a paper from like a religious entity. So it's not like they could say, okay, no, we got married and now we're trying to legalize it, but we got married. Maybe, for example, if Salah had come to Canada and they got married there in a religious ceremony, I'm guessing they could come back and maybe try and register it with the courts that way. But he hasn't done that and they can't prove that. So in terms of loopholes, that might be one, but it would take a lot more work than what they've done here. So until I see that proof, I'm not interested. But can I please say, and if Chantal ever sees this, I just thank you so much for the amusement you have given me in the last week or two. It's really just been mwah. Because there's a clear lack of understanding of how the immigration process works. And the deeper the hole she digs, the more I'm just standing at the top of it going, oh God. Wow, okay then. Dig up, Chantal, dig up. So I very much appreciated the work she's put into her content in the last week or two. It's been great. And I look forward to her next talk about her marriage status because it's sure to be entertaining. All right, everybody, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.